I am back in Dubai and it is currently August and it is about 43 degrees outside here in my balcony right now here in Dubai Creek Harbor. We can see the downtown skyline in the background, and this is the first time that I am actually here in Dubai in August, and I wanted to give my thoughts and my review of what is it actually like to be in Dubai in the summer, because as many of you know, a lot of people will live in Dubai for the winter, but then they will either go traveling in the summer, which I've been doing every year since I've been living here, or they will just have a second home in the summer, or they will go back to their home country or something like that. So I wanted to give my thoughts of what is it actually like to be here in the summer. What can you do? Like, how hot is it really? And can you tolerate being here in Dubai in the summer? But before we move forward with the video, I should go back inside because my camera is probably gonna overheat too. So let's talk about it. So in this video, we will cover number one, is being in Dubai in summer really as bad as they say? Number two, what can you actually do in Dubai in the summer? And number three, what are the ways to mitigate this heat? And if you do, can you actually still enjoy your life here in Dubai? It's now been about a month since I came back, so I've lived a full month here in this scorching heat, so I'm ready to give you now my full thoughts on what it's actually like to live in Dubai in the summer. But before we do that, it's good to remember that just because you're moving to Dubai doesn't mean that you have to live in Dubai the entire year. In fact, most people don't live in Dubai in the summer. And to get the tax benefit, which is a big reason why a lot of people are moving here, you actually only have to stay 90 days of the year, provided you are running a business here and everything like that. So if you're looking to move to Dubai to set up a business here to enjoy the tax benefits, it is very, very important that you work with someone who knows what they're doing, because a lot of people in this Dubai startup market really don't know what they're doing, as I learned the hard way when I was doing this process myself. I work with a team from a company called GenZone, who is, I think, by far the best player on the market when it comes to Dubai setup. They offer an all-in-one setup service where they will take care of everything from exiting your home country to getting set up with your company as well as your residence here. And after the setup is complete, they will also continue to provide you continued support throughout your life here in the UAE. And if you're interested in that, you can even book a free consultation call from the first link down below in the description, where you can ask any questions you have. They can explain the process to you, and then you can move forward from there. Or you can scan this QR code right here to talk to them directly on WhatsApp for an even faster response. So now, talking about my first impressions of life in Dubai in the summer. Now, this isn't technically the first time I'm here in the summer. I have spent time here before in September. Usually I've come back around late September, but obviously August is usually by far the hottest month, and this is the longest period certainly that I've spent in the summer heat. And it is definitely very hot. Like, if you go outside, it's kind of like walking into a sauna. You have this like wall of heat phenomenon where you're inside in air conditioning, everything is fine, and you just hit this wall of heat when you walk outside of the door. Like the first minute or two when you're outside, it kind of feels nice. It kind of feels like when you're going into a sauna, you kind of feel these chills and it's kind of even pleasant. But then very quickly at minute 3 or 4 or 5, it starts to become very, very uncomfortable. And even something like walking to a coffee shop for 5 minutes can be quite an ordeal, especially it was for my girlfriend when we walked to breakfast one morning. I was like, oh, it's so close, it's fine. For me, that was actually quite okay, but she was just suffering through the entire walk. And she was like, yeah, let's never go again to eat outside in this heat. We're walking here in Dubai Creek Harbor. It's about 43 degrees right now. Almost feels like walking into a sauna. What do you think about these temperatures?
So hot.
So hot.
Burn.
Yeah. So if you like walking outside, you like being outside, then this is not a time to be here. This is a time to be there in the building, just work. The thing is that in Dubai in the summer, the worst thing isn't even the heat. The even bigger concern for a lot of people is the air quality. Now, Dubai obviously doesn't have pristine air quality at any time of the day, but it only really gets bad in the summer months. So today the air quality is especially bad. We're here in Soba Heartland, and we actually are supposed to have a view of downtown as well as the Burj Khalifa in the distance. But as you can see, Burj Khalifa is nowhere to be seen. Well, it's actually right there. You can kind of see it. but this is very bad. I believe the AQI is like 183, which is like pretty highest I've ever had it in a place where I am at. Now there's a technical reason for this, because like the sand comes from the desert and then it combines with all the construction and the exhaust fumes and things like that. And there's something about the very hot air that prevents this pollution from like escaping the air or something like that. So that's why, especially in the summer, the air quality can hit very bad numbers. Now usually it's not like that. Like today I'm looking outside, like it's not perfect obviously, but it's more like 60, 70, 80 on that like yellow zone, where if you're sensitive to it, it can be a problem, but if you're not sensitive, it's not that big of a problem. And the other problem is going to be the UV, just how powerful the sun is. Just for context, like usually it's not recommended to be outside in direct sunlight when the UV index is above 3. Now in Dubai in the summer, in the peak of sunlight at like 12 noon or something like that, it can hit 12. So that's quite bad. Now the thing about these two is that because of the heat, you're not going to be spending time outside anyway. So it doesn't really matter if it's super polluted. It doesn't really matter if the UV is super high if you're not outside anyway. And the same kind of goes for the heat. Like when you're in Dubai in the summer, you're just going to have to adapt to a very indoor lifestyle. And that actually brings me to the second part of this video. And this is going to be a very, very hot take. But I actually like being in Dubai in the summer, because while the cons are very obvious, there's actually quite a lot of non-obvious pros to being in Dubai in the summer. So I'm not going to talk about that and who being in Dubai might actually really work for. It's currently 7 a.m. and I am on a walk outside here at the creek, and it's like 37 degrees and like it's hot, but like it's not so bad. Like if you go on a walk or whatever and you do that in the morning, or you do that at night, like you can still do it. Like sure, if you go for an hour walk, you're gonna be quite sweaty at the end of it, but like it's not like you're gonna be dying. But definitely if you wanna be outside during the day, then that's really not gonna work, but you can still do it early in the morning, which is when I prefer to do it anyway because of the UV and everything. And yeah, like it's not really that bad, and I can still come outside, go to a cafe or something, and yeah. So really it comes down to the fact that basically the entirety of Dubai is built for indoor life. So if you're fine with living your life mostly indoors, it doesn't really matter if it's 45 degrees or 25 degrees outside, because you're not outside anyway. It doesn't matter what the AQI is because you're not outside. Now, provided when you're indoors, you have an air purifier and your air conditioning is filtered, which it should be in Dubai. It doesn't really matter if there's air pollution because you're not going to be breathing it, because you're hopefully going to be breathing nice, clean indoor air. Same goes for obviously UV and things like that. Now, obviously, if you're a tourist or you're a new resident to Dubai and you want to really enjoy what Dubai has to offer, you want to be going to beach clubs, like exploring different areas, things like that. Like obviously summer is not going to be the time to do that. But as someone who's now been a long-term resident here, I've already kind of seen like all these things you can do in Dubai. I kind of enjoy the fact that I can just like lock in inside, focus on work. There's not going to be any distractions because most of the people are not here. And there's also some other benefits. For example, because there's much less tourists and generally much less people because people just leave, there's much less traffic. So you're much less likely to get stuck in traffic, which again, if you want to go somewhere, you don't really have to experience the heat because you just walk down from your building. You maybe spend 10 seconds outside, like walking to an air-conditioned car. Then you go in your air-conditioned car, which is going to be a very nice car in your Careem or Uber in Dubai. And then you get off the car, either at a mall or like restaurant or wherever you're going. Again, maybe you experience the heat for like 5 seconds, but then you're going to go into a air-conditioned mall or an air-conditioned restaurant or a museum, like wherever you're going. And the other benefit is that it can be a lot cheaper, especially if you're coming here. Let's say you're moving here, you need to stay in an Airbnb or a hotel. You can get up to 50 or even like 70% off from hotels and Airbnbs in the summer months. Everything is much cheaper. So I'm gonna walk here this time at night, and kind of the same thing as the morning. It's about 35 degrees right now, and it's definitely hot. Like it's quite unusual for me to feel this hot at this hour of the day. Like I'm not used to feeling hot when it's basically dark outside. But again, I mean, I'm here, I'm gonna walk, I'm not even really sweating right now. Now sure, if I was walking for like an hour or something, I would probably just be sweaty, but that's really about it. Like it's not like you're gonna die when you go outside, and especially if you do it at night. Like you could walk here, like there's people walking around, I'll show you some clips, and people just kind of living their life even though it's just a bit hotter. There's not much else to it. So who does this work for? Well, it works for someone who has already kind of experienced Dubai, like you have been here for a while and you just want to lock in. Like you want to go through a period where you're just focusing on work. It can really work for you to be in Dubai in the summer because like there's just not that many distractions. What it doesn't work for is obviously tourists. So if you want to come here as a tourist and experience Dubai, summer is obviously not the time to do that. Or a new resident who wants to again experience Dubai more like a tourist. So if you're moving to Dubai for the first time, I would recommend coming in the winter when you can actually be outside and the temperatures are pleasant. And it also doesn't work for someone who wants to do a lot of outdoor exercise or you just really want to live an outdoor life. That obviously does become quite a bit more difficult, and I would not recommend like running outside. For a lot of people who are entrepreneurs, who spend a lot of the time working, it's very, very feasible for you to live your entire life inside. Like just looking at your daily life, you work from home, you're in your air-conditioned apartment, your air-purified apartment as well, hopefully. You can order anything to your door. You can order from Amazon, from Noon. You're gonna get your food delivered straight to your door. You could literally just never even leave your apartment. Almost all buildings are going to have a gym, so when you need to go to the gym, you just go downstairs. You don't need to step outside. And if you wanna go somewhere, again, you just walk into an air-conditioned car that takes you to an air-conditioned mall or whatever. So it's really feasible actually to live quite a normal life here in the summer, and I haven't found it to be nearly as bad as a lot of people said, and that even myself, like I was saying before, because I assumed like, oh, it's just horrible because it's hot and I'm just gonna hate my life because I'm indoors all the time, but it's actually been surprisingly fine. So I wouldn't be afraid of the heat. I wouldn't be afraid of having to be here, obviously, unless you're in one of those categories and you know that you want to be outside all the time. So overall, I like living in Dubai in the summer, kind of like living in winter in cold countries. Like I'm from Finland, and in the winter, it gets super, super cold. Like it's awful. It gets like -30 in the winter. So same if you're from Nordic countries or you're from Russia or Canada or something like that. Like you've probably lived your entire life where half the year, give or take, is super, super cold, where again, you kind of have to adapt to just living indoors. You're not going to be spending time outside at -25 degrees, but you do it. You just have heating inside, you go to a heated car, to a heated mall or a restaurant or something like that, and life just kind of goes on. Like you can do most of the things you can normally do, except like exercise outside or something like that. Now, is that something you would prefer to do all the year? Probably not. Again, like I would also not prefer to live in this kind of environment the entire year, but for part of the year, like it's not so bad in my opinion. So I've been walking for almost an hour now and I'm still barely even sweating. Like, and there's less people, it's more peaceful. I'm actually starting to think that I like Dubai in the summer. And people will say, well, oh, that's artificial life because the only way you can live is through air conditioning and that's super man-made and artificial. And I'm like, well, sure, yeah, it's artificial, but so is living in Canada in the winter. Heating is artificial. It's a man-made invention that we can heat our houses. And also like there's so many things about our modern life that is artificial, like living in an apartment building, that's artificial, like that is man-made. But is that a bad thing? Like, sure, if you want to, you can go and live in some primitive way where we're not using any modern technology to help us, but most people wouldn't want to do that. We use modern technology to make our life easier, and it allows us to be able to still have a normal life, even in conditions like this. To me, that is a good thing, not a bad thing. There's just some mitigation that you need to do, and you just need to like be aware of these couple of things. And if you do that, then everything is kind of fine. Now, do I prefer Dubai in the summer? Obviously no, I prefer the winters, but for a period of time, I actually kind of like it. It's just kind of a different vibe and allows me to go through a different season of my life. Let me know your thoughts down below, and if you're interested in relocating to Dubai, you're interested in what the process is for that, make sure to watch this video right here, my full guide on moving to Dubai. With that, I will see you in the next video.